Welcome, everybody, business geeks and all, to the Business Geeks podcast. We're back here for one last episode of season two, which we didn't, it's a little unceremonious because we didn't really plan it that way, but that's the way it goes when you're trying to coordinate with three people, and two of which are in one time zone, and the other one is on the far side of the planet in a whole different time zone. It makes it a little hectic. Right now, it's just me and one of my wonderful co-hosts, Samantha Riley from SamanthaRiley.global. Sam, how are you doing?
I'm doing so well, thank you, Joe. Although I'm a little bit sad. I'm hoping Jen's okay because she's meant to be here. So I'm
She
hoping that she's okay.
she is meant to be here. So when she gets in, obviously we will pop her into here. But in the meantime, I thought, since this is our season two finale, we could maybe recap some of the stuff that we've talked about in season two, and kind of talk about like some of the things that we have going on in our businesses. So we have a time capsule to look back on as well, and then also answering your business questions, of course, before we wrap up here on the season finale of season two of the Business Geeks
Absolutely. Before
podcast.
we do though, Joe, how are you?
Oh, how I am pretty well overall. We were just talking about Top Gun before we started,
Yeah.
and how amazing it is. And if you haven't seen it, you absolutely should go see it because it's incredible. And I'm actually going back on tomorrow night with my wife and kids to take them to go see it in IMAX, because it was just such an experience. And you're going later
I'm
today, right?
mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm so excited. I've been waiting all week. All week.
I bet. I bet it's an experience. And I think to speak to, but I don't consider myself a movie buff by any stretch, but I pretty much only mostly watch movies. I don't really watch TV shows and things like that. And I think that there's so much that can be said for the realism of of actually doing the thing that you're filming, rather than like, have you watched any behind the scenes of any of the Marvel movies? Because it's pretty much all
Mm,
blue screen.
yeah, yeah, totally.
Yeah, it takes a
Super
lot
exciting.
away from the experience, in my opinion. Not that I'm the biggest Tom Cruise fan or anything like that, but this is everybody else. Everybody needs to take notes because there's so
I
much to
I
learn.
have not seen anyone say anything bad. And in actual fact, everyone that I've seen comment on it on social media has said they're going straight back. It's, yeah. Oh,
Yeah, because it's
exciting.
because
I
it's
can't
that
wait.
because it's that good. What is up your favorite blockhead? Uh, Thank you for joining us today. Um, Yeah, so overall, I mean, things overall are going really, really well in the businesses, and everything's like pretty much moving in the right direction. Some a little slower than others, but but still, moving in that right direction. And so, thinking about today, other than again answering any of your questions, just drop them in the chat. Uh, we could I thought we could talk about where we're at with our businesses. So Sam, where are you at? Where are you heading since this is the season finale? We want to be able to look back on this in the coming months and years.
Yeah, well, look, just for anyone that doesn't know what I do, I help experts to become the industry leader or the leader in their industry. So I work with a lot of coaches. I work with a lot of service-based professionals. And back at the beginning of the pandemic, we added in an a side of our business, I guess, where we help them with access to our team. So with our web team and our automation team and our designers and our audio editors. And we did that at the time just to help out our current clients as they were going we can all remember what it was like going into the pandemic. Everyone was panicking a little bit, and for good reason too, right? So that has just gone. It's just growing and growing and growing. Our client base is growing. Our team's growing, and yeah, so we're just sort of on this trajectory. Is that it? It's early in the morning. Trajectory.
Trajectory. I am not good at the whole like answering word verbiage like that.
So yeah, lots of plans over, well, for the rest of this year to bring on. We'd like to double our team. So to double our team, that means we need to take on probably, 4 times the amount of clients, and that's the goal. That's what we're working towards.
That is phenomenal. One of the things that I love that you did, which is I guess a departure from the way you used to do business, is by adding the added value of the genies and like everything you were already doing, and then adding in well, your genies specifically
Yeah.
for social media content. What are all the services that they
Oh
offer?
my goodness. We've got over 150 different things that they do. There's just, oh my goodness, so many. So from admin design, so our designers do a lot of branding, workshop assets, social media. The web team does all the sorts of landing pages that you need. What did you say? I can't even remember what you said. There's just so many things that they do. Set up automations.
Wow. I think there's things that I didn't even realize that they did. Like I knew they do like graphic design and like creating, curating posts and things of that
Yeah.
nature. I remember asking a while back about video editing and you're like, "Well, yeah, maybe at some point."
We've got our video editing off and running and
Woo!
doing work. So yeah, it's really good. What I love about it is for us, really leaning into, I guess, my zone of genius, which is I love working with teams. And one of the things that I'm really passionate about is how can we grow our teams so that we're able to help more families put food on the table? Where I think a lot of people are in the online space of how can we run a business that's as lean as possible because they don't want to work with teams. And I think it's great because we should all run our businesses the way we want to. But the fact that I can do it, get my team up and running, put more food on more people's families' tables, and help out people who don't know how to run a team, like it's just a no-brainer.
Yeah, and I mean that is a take that you won't hear from most people, most business owners out there, most online entrepreneurs talking about the importance of being able to provide for others. That is it's more than just providing for yourself and or your family, but the families and the the people that work for you and their families, as well as in your case helping the people who are working with you being able to help them provide for their families and having that ripple effect there. It's something that
Totally.
resonated to me, as a young kid talking to my dad about what I wanted to do when I grew up. And it's like, well, you got to understand, like, everything that gets touched by a truck. And in this case, if we don't have the parts in at the right place at the right time, well, then they're not going to be able to ship the stuff, and that means the people that are truck drivers are going to have their trucks down. Their families aren't going to be, it's this big ripple effect. Um, eh, you know, so I feel like not enough people have given maybe thought to that narrative of why go through all the trouble that we go through and to expand, because like the fact that matters is once you as you add more people, like one of the reasons to stay lean is you have less headaches, even though you
Uh-huh.
can equivocally like have more headaches depending on what you have to learn and how
That's
things
exactly right.
change.
There's
And
pros and cons to everything, right?
yeah, I mean, they both have their ups and downs as far like
Mhm.
pros and cons as far as being like lean and being by yourself versus having that team and having to manage the personalities and the work structure, work ethic, the expectations in which you deliver to those people, because you might not be doing a great job of communicating, which is the dirty C word, and so on and so forth. So it has its own challenges having a team, but the added benefit of knowing that you're doing really, doing extra good for the people around you, your fellow peoples, and their families is one of those driving forces that I feel is underappreciated or undermentioned, undervalued.
Totally.
What's the term?
That's where we need Jen. She's so much better at that than you and I.
Yeah, underrated. I don't want to say overrated because it's definitely underrated.
Yeah. I think that
Yes.
it's really important to think about what is the bigger mission of what you're doing, and we can get so very caught up in just ourselves, like why are we in business, and a lot of people talk about the ripple effects of their clients, but I would love to challenge everyone to think even past that. Like, what's the ripple effect of the world that what is it that you're doing, and why is it, more importantly, why is it what you're doing? Oh my goodness, my words aren't coming out exactly right this
It
morning, but you know
is,
what I
what is
mean.
it, like 7
It's
14 in the
good
morning there?
night. Had a few late nights this week, not enough sleep.
Yeah, hey, it's understandable. It's understandable.
So
Yeah,
what's going on in your business, Joe? I mean, you've had a phenomenal year with your YouTube channel. Tell us what's going on.
it has been a phenomenal year. So it's been a little tough being able to get the time to do all the things that need to be done. I know at some point Melissa may or may not come on board. She wants to come on board, but she has been inundated with lots of projects that have been kind of like, we need to do that, but it's kind of just it just kept getting put off and put off. And you combine that with, we're very rapidly coming up on summer here in the States, and the kids will be off school, and then there's going to be a lack of time there on her part because she'll be with the kids and all that. So I haven't gone to ask like, oh, because it's not like she has editing uh, experience. I can't even put words together. Uh,
Sorry,
uh,
I'm sending the senses to you.
yeah.
I apologize.
I think I woke up at like 4 a.m. this morning.
Wow.
So yeah, so it's been a long day. And yeah, so it's been a little tough getting the content together outside of I was doing Friday every Friday night that Shark Tank released a new episode. I was in the studio 3 hours, so much so that somebody pointed out that my eyes looked like they were drifting in one of the videos because I was like staring at the screen, and at first I was like, "Whoa, like am I gaining like some lazy eyes or something?" But as my wife Melissa points out, she's like, "Well, it's 11 o'clock at night. You've been up since 5:30 in the morning. You've been in the studio staring
Exactly.
at screens for 3 hours. Like, what do you think your face is going to look like at 11 o'clock at night?" I'm like,
Ah,
ah, you know.
Melissa, telling the truth.
Right? I didn't really think about it like that. I just was thinking like I'm focused in. I'm honed in on what's being said, so I'm not missing anything. And my brain's in like overdrive, trying to like because it was the last video of the night. And like let's just get it done. Um, but yeah, so I have some other ideas for videos and things. It just really comes down to time because while YouTube is rapidly becoming a big part of the my business model. Not that I don't still work with some clients and I'm here at the shop now, but like my actual coaching business, consulting business, really like it's really kind of shifted the balance of importance because in some cases like, well, I could work with this person, that person, or have these meetings and things, or I can make some YouTube videos and have income coming in for potentially years to come.
Mhm.
And that's the thing where it's like it's really tempting to make that happen. Now, as far as numbers go, like so we're coming up on 1 year of being monetized on YouTube.
Mhm. Mhm.
And hey, Loki, that's good to see you. In case you missed it earlier, this is our season finale episode. So we were gonna take probably an extended break after this for the Business Geeks, not for my channel or anything that. Because Sam, you have like two other podcasts that you do as well, don't you?
Mhm. Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah.
So looking at the numbers, like July 5th is 1 year monetized, and I'm gonna come pretty somewhat close to like 20 grand in revenue. So just
That
in ad
oh my
revenue, that's without
goodness, what's a ding
sponsorships
for
or
that? I don't
oh.
have a ding because that is phenomenal. The amount of like effort that you have to put in. I don't think unless anyone's ever done it, they wouldn't realize how much work goes into that. And I
That's
think
a lot.
even more so, and this is what I really want to call to, is consistency. Because so many people just don't stay consistent through the times where you know you might not be getting that many views, right at the beginning when it's a tough slog until you get that momentum. So, hats off. You've done an awesome job, Joe.
Well, thank you. And that's so like, and the other flip side of that is the reaction like I've been doing more and more interviews lately because a lot of these people that have been on Shark Tank have been reaching out and like, I want to be on your show.
That's
Like,
that's so
let's
great.
do it. Well, it is great, but here's the thing. It doesn't get as many views as the reaction videos.
Of
So I,
course.
I do it out of it's more of like a long term play.
Hmm.
Some of those interviews got like 1,000 views to maybe I don't know, like getting closing in on around 2,000 views. So which is great, right? That's awesome. But most of them out of the gate get like 100 views, maybe to 200 views, and then they kind of slowly gain that. I mean, they're long videos, they're hour long. I'm committing that time. I'm grateful for the guests that want to come on the show, and it helps build authority. In my opinion, it helps build authority to what we're what
100%.
we're doing here. Thank you, Locutus. I greatly appreciate it. Facebook user, I'm not sure who you are, but I appreciate I appreciate you being here. Jessica Sackner says, "What if you watch an episode of Shark Tank with
Oh,
them?"
that's smart.
With that, so I have done that. So Rebecca Romanucci came on. I want to say for two reaction videos, but the thing about that is I don't want to react to something I've already watched. So it
Uh,
becomes this
so
like
much for reaction,
this,
right?
yeah, because it's this real fine line of like I don't want to duplicate. But then the other thing is when I do these reaction videos they're new, like a lot of new people are coming and finding me for the first time, and having those guests it kind of muddies the water on like the first impression kind of thing. So which is why I've
Yeah.
like swore off back in like uh, I don't know when it was. It was mid last year, like August or something like that. I stopped having guests come on the show to do reactions with because a lot of these people, again, they're finding me for the first time. They have to like me. They have to like the video. They have to like my guest, my guest reactor, and
Yeah, and sometimes they don't, right? I know that. So there was a few comments about me.
well, there's been a few comments about literally almost every guest I've had on. Some favorable
Yeah.
and some unfavorable.
Uh-huh.
So,
Uh-huh. So it's
Tim
just it's just
Bryan, thank you, thank you, Tim. You are my hero for sure. Uh,
uh,
don't let anybody tell you differently. So it's this like complicated thing where it's like you're trying to optimize the watch retention and you're trying to optimize for people just coming in fact I don't know if you saw I posted somebody wrote me or booked a time on my calendar which they
I
shouldn't have been
did
able to do. This
that.
was the second time in like a week. And they were
Yeah.
like, your intros are you're a grown butt man. What are you doing like yelling or something like that? And I was like, well, I had this, I wrote a reply. They actually opened that reply, but haven't, replied. But at the time, it's funny because I actually went. I want to say it was like mid last year, like maybe like again like August or July. I went through and the top 50 videos on my channel, I went through and cut the intros completely out, cut them
Hmm.
completely out, and uh, I thought that was enough. But now it's like we're getting close to like a year later, and some of those videos that had like next to no views now have several thousand views, and I'm like, oh, I wish I had taken those out to, those taking the time for that. So like literally when I woke up this morning, that's what I did after I got that email. So I was like, I don't really want that intro anywhere anyway, because some of those intros were like 30 seconds long. And I'm like, wow, I could
Yeah.
totally see why, you
But the things
know,
learn along the way, right?
yeah, exactly, exactly. It is a learning and growing process, and I think that sometimes people forget that, and sometimes people will view a piece of content that was made very early on in me doing these reaction videos and like write this like long diatribe of like why I'm doing it wrong and blah 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 blah, and it's like bro, if you just looked at the date in which it was released and then go to my channel and compare that to like the newest video, you'd see that most of what you're saying has already been taken care of because you're talking about something that happened like a year and a half plus ago.
I
Like,
think it's even more than that. Like, it's one thing to know things, and I'm putting that in air quotes because we can all read something, but until you've actually put it into action, then come back and talk to me. And I get it all the time in my business, people saying things like that. And I'm like, well, have you done it? Have you implemented this? Have you learned from what you've done? And I will bet that these people that are giving you these really long, you could do better, Joe. Are they out there doing better? Probably not, I'd be saying.
yeah, but I don't want to put it in that. I don't want to paint it in that. Like, I
No, no,
know
no.
that.
I would
You
I would
know
not.
that.
Yeah, neither of us would put that in a comment. Like, I love the comments that you write. Um, but at the same time, it is true though, isn't it?
It is right. We have to. It's actually. I'm going to be going on. I was invited to be on a podcast in like next week, and literally all they want me to talk about is the negative comments and how I deal with them, and make it a point to like respond to those and respond respectfully in it. And
Very
look, it says I'm asking too much of people. I I mean, look, they take the time to write really long comments, right? They take the time to go and find my booking link, which I had scrubbed about a week ago from anybody being able to have direct access to, because I had already limited the amount of opportunities in that calendar. But even that was starting to get filled up. So I was like, all right, let's put another layer of
Hmm.
fill out this form and then we can talk,
Yeah, yeah,
for people
yeah.
who really are that interested in wanting to work with me or talk with me or just get 15 minutes. Not because I don't want to talk. I would love to, but like being here, operating this business, that, running YouTube, running my coaching business, running Icon, independent podcast conference, and having a family and friends any kind of hobbies is a little bit much for one person to be able to do. So, um,
100%.
but they're taking the time to do that. So, and look, I appreciate because look, for every one person that writes something, even if it's somewhat it's somewhat rooted in truth and not just like a blatant like uh bashing, then that, to me, that, I mean, how many people didn't, right, who clicked on the videos, watched 30 seconds of it and was like, yeah, this isn't for me, and left and never said a word. Doesn't mean they
Yeah.
have to be rude about it, but but it would,
Yeah.
it'd be nice.
I think that it's elevated your brand. Like, really, I've known you for a long time now, and I know the kind of person that you are. You're such a genuine and kind and loving person. But to watch it in the comments, like, I think it's just so many more people that maybe don't know you like I do can see that you are really like that. Even just in what you said then, you see the best in everybody. And I think that that's shining through loud and clear. And I love that.
Well, thank you. I will say though that I don't know, like a year ago, that's when I started. I do hide people from the channel so their comment, because one of the things I don't want is to make it easy for people to just see that comment, like, oh, just shut the hell up, and just click the like button, right? And even though I'm responding to it, and so I've left some of them scattered for the people that are, watching every video and things like that. But and the ones that aren't super rude, like that are maybe a little backhanded, but their hearts, like, at least their mind is coming from the place of, I want this channel to be better, and like, here's how I feel it could be better. Um, like, but I do unshadow ban those people. So I pretty much regularly, like, anytime I shadow ban somebody, their comment, they can still see their comment. They can't see that, nobody else can see their comment or my reply.
Okay.
But then I unshadow ban them. So if they choose to want to come back and they choose to want to keep commenting, they're free to do so. I think, as Casey Neistat, I was watching an interview with him and Nas. Was it
Mhm.
the
Yep.
Daily? Yeah, the guy who did the Daily thing. Um, he was like, look, this is a dictatorship, not a democracy. I don't care. Like, he's like, I would read the comments, but then the negative comments would just ring so loud in my head that they would
Mhm.
overshadow the outpouring of love. And at the end of the day, I'm making this because this is the best content that I know how to make. And if you don't like it, then it's not for you. And that's the way I feel with my channel. And so far it has, look, it hasn't blown up to like some 100,000 subscriber in a year kind of channel. And I have some theories around that. Um, Especially when you see like Shark Tank, from like Sony Pictures, like where they post like the whole episode, and that gets like 4 million views. I do the same video and it gets, you know 10,000 or something. Something in comparison is
Uh-huh.
very, very, very small. Probably somewhat suppressed, since it's like literally going to the same Shark Tank audience, or they're juicing their numbers. I don't know. One or the other's happening. I'm not really sure, but but I just, I think that having, because like, he's like, well, I can't take credit for this term. It's, post and ghost. So I post my content and then I'm gone. I'm not looking at the comments. I'm not doing any of that stuff. And what I've learned is the people that are angry about my content, they're just not for me. Like, they're not for me.
Yep.
Like, they're not for this,
Yep.
what this is, right? And that's fine. I think that even the ones that are really rude, like, I've grown thicker skin from it. I've grown from it, because Joe of 2 years ago, Joe of like every year prior, would have, hard on the sleeve, would have been very just devastated. And I do feel bad because there's a lot of content creators out there that are get paralyzed from these kinds of comments. Um,
Totally. I saw a TikTok of someone who she had her very first video go viral. And the way she described it, she said, we all want our content to go viral because we put so much of ourselves into creating content. And she said, but it's like you've just been given this brand new car. She said, no one will say no to the car. We all want the brand new car just given to us. But she said, right on the back of this brand new car is a hot, steaming turd sitting there on the back seat. She said, that's what it's like going viral. You're not going to say no to the car, but it's still got the turd on the back seat. And what she was referring to was all of those comments. And I think that, you do need to put boundaries up. I was talking to someone about it just yesterday. We have to protect ourselves as content creators because of course not everyone's going to like us. It's just the way it is. There's going to be people that don't like us, that don't agree with us, but it can be really, really, really hard to not get caught up in that vacuum of negativity. So we were talking about unfollowing people, or exactly what you're talking about here by shadow banning people. And I think that it's really important to remember that we still need to protect ourselves, and we still need to have those boundaries up. Yeah, that's all I got to say on that.
no, yeah, I think that. Um, I think being able to hide, and the main reason to hide the comment like literally what, because I don't want people to be able to just click a like button and move on with their life, right? I want them to speak up and say something, right? And plus, more comments, more juice, more,
Mhm,
go
mhm,
further, right? So, I but I think that one of the reasons that I'm able to turn it off, and or laugh it off, I should say, is because it's not a coordinated effort, right? It's literally random people finding the content and then having something like really negative to say. And that to me is easy to write off. Like versus like, I mean, I've been a part of, I've had cyberbullying happen to me. I'm not going to go into the whole story of it here, but I'm pretty
mhm,
sure you recall,
mhm.
after I spoke in New York, it became a problem for about 3 days.
Yeah.
I really, really don't ever want to feel that wrath again, not just from
Mhm,
that group of people, but from just a coordinated or like semi-coordinated attack, is very different. And I think at that point, I well, I mean, yeah, you just hide them, I guess. I don't know. It's hard to balance because you also have like they can say whatever they want, but at the end of the day, like I gained 2 or 3 or 4 subscribers in that time. By the time I actually read the comment, because it's usually hidden to begin with, because they used certain language that's been, flagged.
mhm.
And when you do that, it puts a little bit of a time delay, and in that time, um, you know, you just, I don't know, it just it doesn't it helps you not be all at once and all out
Mm,
there all at once.
mhm, mhm.
As
Yeah.
Tim said, and look here, said keyboard warriors. Tim says, if they don't like your product, then they aren't your right customer. Get better customers. Yeah. So I mean, the thing is, I'm reaching a really different, like, a very diverse audience with, like, doing Shark Tank stuff. And for better for worse, like I said, is it reaching every person that would be a client? No. um is it reaching some people that are? Yeah, it reaches people that are fans of the content, but it does reach people that aren't, and that's okay because I still get make money on the back end anyway. So it's you know it, so it, it's fine, I guess. it's
Mm, mm.
it's
It's a
difficult to get a different audience. It is, especially when you do something as broad as Shark Tank, because you have the fans of that product, right, of that business. You have the fans of the show. You have people who watch the show, then Googled for that product, who want to become fans of that product. So and every product is different. So there's not one niche or niche of
Mhm,
product
mhm.
that's going on Shark Tank. So it's like it's super diverse, and look, people come and they stick around and stuff like that. But I mean, when I look at the numbers, I'm like, to me, it's all about relationships, and it's not just about the numbers. But when I look at it, I'm like, well, 20,000 people decided to come back this in the last 28 days to the channel. That wasn't people finding it for the first time. That was somebody that watched something and came back. So,
Mm, mhm.
something is working right, even if, the people that hate it really, really want to hate it.
Totally, totally. I was going to mention completely, well, sort of to do with what we're talking about, but a completely different topic
Hmm.
is the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial that's got a lot of traction on the internet, and I was very much tied up in watching that. But I was just saying to Leon last night, there's something that's really starting to concern me. Now, I am 100% Team Depp. 100%. I love Johnny Depp. I think that there was, my view is that he was definitely thrown under the bus by her. However, I'm watching the amount of hate that she's getting, and I actually said to Leon, I really, really hope that something awful doesn't happen. I hope she doesn't, end her life or something like that, because I couldn't imagine the amount of hate that she's getting. What she's done is wrong, but at the same time, to put someone's life in danger, which I think it could be potentially a thing with what we're seeing her go through. I, I don't know. I feel really uncomfortable about it. She's still a person, and I don't think that, like, people need to think about that.
So Melissa is definitely on Team Johnny Depp, and I'm more reserved about it. And the main reason why her lawyer actually kind of said it, or basically alluded to it in an interview like yesterday, I think it was, about how there was evidence that they weren't allowed to bring to trial. Right, that it was evidence that in the UK they were allowed to bring the trial, but not here. Right,
Mhm.
so I I kind of get the feeling that both of them were wrong, but
Oh,
um,
they were both there's some messy stuff going behind the scenes, and I
yeah,
don't even think people know that either. I think a lot of that should have been kept behind closed doors
well,
because
but Johnny wanted his day in court to be able to like it was a reason it was public, right? It was they wanted the story to be heard, and look, I don't know. For me, it's just I I are we going to end up seeing a bunch of evidence like a year from now that's like, oh, yeah, does her story sound bogus? Yeah, a lot of it does, right? Like, I'm not saying that she got it right or she was in the right, uh, but I don't know. I feel like we won't be fooled again, but maybe we are, and or to
well,
a certain extent, and maybe it's not as bad as what she portrayed, but I don't know, man. When there's smoke, there's fire, and but I also think like some of those conversations like are so weird that those conversations are recorded right between them. Uh, I keep thinking to myself like if he was that abusive, why would he even bother having those conversations? Like why even spend the time? Just boom
mm,
boom, get
mm,
shut up and get like let's get back like right. And then there's also like the other question of if I really wanted if he really wanted to prove that there was a case that he lost his job because of that, why is Jerry Bruckheimer not there?
mm.
If anyone's going to know, it comes straight from the horse's mouth, right? Like,
I just want to say that I wasn't here to comment on the case. I just wanted to say,
oh, come
I
on.
don't, I know, I don't, because the point that I really wanted to make, and is that the people that we're commenting on and the people that we're talking about are real human beings, and that I really, really hope that nothing awful happens to Amber Heard, because no matter what's happened, she's still a human being. That
Yeah.
was the
Okay.
point.
So to that point, yes, two wrongs don't make a right, right? But I think people sometimes forget that when they're trying to rail against somebody. I mean, look, the amount of coverage that a handful of channels have done on this case, and the amount of insane amount of views that and subscribers that they're collecting from those. I
Mhm,
mean, it's going to be. I mean, it almost creates a vacuum once it like now that it's well, she's
mhm.
going to appeal, so it might continue on, but I think less people are going to be as interested than
I
like
think so. Yeah.
yeah, than out of the gate. So yeah, like they are. You're right. They are both humans. I definitely think they're probably both wrong to some extent.
Of course.
And yeah, it's. But again, I just feel like when you're talking about the like a case where evidence is allowed and evidence isn't allowed, and witness testimonies are thrown out from either side, it's not that it's easy by any means, and her lawyer sucked really bad.
Oh my goodness.
I
Well,
feel oh
I
God,
don't know. I don't know if they were, if like
Wish.com.
they were just
Wish.com. She went
bad
to
lawyers.
Wish.com to get her lawyers.
I
I'm
know,
just saying.
totally went to wish.com to get them, but were they afraid? Like, were they camera shy, or like, was there just too much pressure there? Are they normally that bad? I don't know, but far out, there's some stuff like. Oh my goodness. Oh boy, oh boy, have
Yeah.
I seen some clips, you know. I don't know if you've seen the clip where is it Elaine? Is that her
Yeah,
lawyer?
so
Elaine?
Elaine is the was
Yeah,
Amber's, I
for
guess, lead
Elaine,
lawyer, head lawyer, whatever you call it.
she's
Yeah.
when she sort of puts her hand up to stop something and they're like, but it's your evidence or you said that. And I'm just like, and she's just like, oh, she was so confused. I'm like, oh dear. Hmm.
Even when they had Kate Moss come, right? Like there was a whole thing, like it was a whole thing that they had to talk about before they could bring her in, and like what they could or couldn't ask,
Hmm. Hmm.
and things like that. It's like when you color things like that, right? It makes it harder for me to be more absolute with my like, oh yeah, totally, like here's all the video footage, and it just makes it really really hard. The lesson learned is to be honest and keep promises. Yeah. So Lucia says Dr. Todd Grand, a PhD psychologist that has a channel talking about psychological or the physiological in general or psychological in general. I don't know. He did a
I,
few videos of the breakdown of the trial, all neutral and very analytical. Huh, I'll have to check those out because like I'm not. I mean, I don't love Johnny Depp. Like he's great actor or whatever, but like and I want to believe from the past interviews that like he is this one in 100 million person that like even with going through drug addictions and stuff like what didn't get to that state of mind to feel like he could control somebody to that level. um
mm,
you know
ah,
I don't know, but
so
anyway, uh
let's move on. I
well,
just yeah.
to wrap that up, I think that when you're talking about, dealing with people, was it? I think it was Selena Gomez that came out like a couple weeks back that said, do not, I haven't checked social media in like 6 years.
Oh
Like
wow.
it's just her team. I want to say it was 6 years, maybe it was five, but I want to say it was like 6 years. And hasn't checked it. It's just her team running it for her because she just
Yeah.
doesn't want to
Yeah.
deal with it. And
Well,
I kind of
right?
feel the same way to a
I
certain
kind of
extent.
understand that because for someone that's in the spotlight there needs to keep her head straight so that
Mhm.
she can be the best artist that she is, then that makes total sense.
Yeah, because I'm sure lots of nasty things are said,
I
terrible things are said
can
on
imagine.
to her.
Yeah.
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 So I mean, there's definitely the whole post and ghost thing. There's definitely something to it. I think. But I also think, and Casey Neistat recognized like it's a lot easier to say that once you have an audience. Like an audience with Jennifer Crawford. Woo!
Oh,
What's going
Jennifer
on, Jen?
Crawford.
I am so embarrassed. I'm so embarrassed. I'm so sorry. In my head, I was trying so hard to fit in a workout today that I got sort of hyper focused on fitting it in. And I just was like, oh my God, I'm running out of time because a meeting today went long. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can squeeze one in. If I get on now, I'll be done by 6 o'clock and I'll be able to join the Business Geeks, not just completely mixing up times. And that's my excuse. And see, I'm so sweaty. I just hopped on like I'm so sweaty. And so
I am so glad that you've come in because all the whole time I've been so worried about you. So
well,
worried.
if you saw me on the bike, you would be worried about me. I think I was about to like pass out any second. Oh my gosh. So
Oh,
I have no idea what we've talked about, but I could not show up at all because I didn't want you to call 911 or anything like that. So
Oh my goodness, we probably should have. Oh.
yeah, I don't know why. I don't know why you didn't. Honestly, I mean, I'm never late for anything.
except for the business geeks. Except for the business geeks.
I have all the things to be late for. It's so and
Oh no, it's so good to see you. We
well,
were actually talking
it's
about being human, and look, you show up with your sweaty
human clothes
showers.
on.
Splotchy. You know, some women, they glisten, they glow when they exercise. I'm not one of those women, and I'm like, I splotch out. I'm like, I sweat like a, I don't know, like I have a glandular problem.
You look fantastic, Jen.
I'm glad I made it. Again, I am so sorry.
Oh, it's all right. It's only our season finale. It's okay.
Okay, well, I didn't even know if you let the cat out of the bag, so I wasn't sure.
It is. It is. Well, we were talking about what we've been up to, what our plans are looking like going forward. So we have something like a time capsule to look back on,
Okay.
and yeah. So what, Jen? What do you have going forward?
Oh my gosh. Well, I think we talked about this a couple times on here. We are going to closing next week on the business that we are acquiring. And the agency, I'm so scared, but we're doing it anyway. So that's happening, and I think that'll be, a huge, I don't know, thing in my life for this year. Just trying to get that business on an even keel, and yeah, that's what's going on immediately. I'm so sorry. You guys already did yours, right? So I missed all the good stuff.
We did, but congratulations! That
Yeah.
what a way to end season 2, because we've been following that the whole way through the season.
Yes, right. I mean,
I'm excited for you, Jen.
thank you, thank you. Yeah, well, maybe we can come back as like a little, like a hey, did you miss us kind of episode with an update.
Yeah, no, well, I don't think that this is, it's not goodbye. It's see you real soon, right?
Yeah,
Um, I think like I was saying earlier, I think before we came on, like having the break now actually makes a lot of sense, for us because of the fact that for me it's summertime, so it's one less night that a week that I will be getting home later,
yeah.
so I will be able to go swimming with the kids, that have that one more opportunity for that, and I it's summertime, so like it's a good time. Take a break. Sam won't have to be up at ready for 7 a.m. And we'll revisit it when the time zone changes. Though next year we won't, after November of next year, we won't have a time change year.
That's right.
It'll
I
always
heard
be daylight time here.
Yeah, like business geeks never die, just like the Goonies never die. Business geeks never die. We'll be back. But you're right, Joe. I think it's we got Sam's message about sort of concluding season 2. I was like, why didn't I think of that? Because yeah, it is. I mean, as I mentioned, I was like, oh, it's really good timing actually to sort of, I think, lighten all of our loads, as you mentioned right now. I mean, we love business geeks, but it is an extracurricular activity for all of us. So when it comes time to prioritizing our time, sometimes the extracurricular activities have to be set aside temporarily. So I think it's a smart decision. And in terms of delivering, like business acumen, sometimes as business owners we have the freedom to make those choices, and we should exercise that. So
Well said. Well said.
yeah.
Absolutely. It's asked by Iram, what business did you acquire?
Yeah, well, because we haven't gone to closing, I'm not going to give the name of the business. I mean, not that you would have heard of it, but it's a virtual assistant agency. So I already run and own a virtual assistant agency. So this is just another one, and it's just part of a growth strategy that we're pursuing. So, but thank you for asking, Aram.
And Locutus says, "Good idea, Joe. Spend as much time with the kids as possible, especially during the summer." Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean it's one of those things where it's been kind of difficult because there's what was supposed to be just one night a week ish, sometimes 1 to 2 nights a week, being here at the office later to be able to do these calls right after 5 o'clock and all that. So it didn't interfere with the day-to-day operations. It's kind of sometimes turned into 3 nights or 4 nights, like because of certain calls, and my calendar at one point lost its darn mind. So it allowed people to book like for times that I'm like, this should not be a thing. Like it should not have been able to
Mhm.
do that. So I did, I caught it, fixed it, and it's fine now. But like there was a little bit of time there where like a lot of people booked in a very short period of time, and they were able to book almost indiscriminately. And I don't always have the heart to cancel on people or reschedule with people, so we just do what we
Mm.
do. But it does put a damper on things like that. And the kids are still in school for right now anyway, so they'll be out of school soon. Oh no, what?
But
I'm still here.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Weird. I don't see the tab. The tab disappeared on me.
Oh, well, you are coming
Oh,
through very clear.
loud and clear, and we can see you just fine.
Weird. The tab is seriously, it's not open.
Yeah. Well, if you can't see yourself, do you? Are you really existing? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, that's a good question.
You look
I
in the mirror and you don't see yourself. Are you a ghost? I don't know.
I don't know either. Oh, okay.
Did you minimize your?
No, it just all of a sudden it just went away. I don't know what happened there. You know what? Let me just let me close Chrome and come back in. So you two should be able to talk, and I'll be right back.
Okay, everything's good on our end, but yeah, go do that.
Yeah.
that is so weird. Well, Sam,
Yeah.
I'm glad you're going to get to sleep in a little bit, maybe, hopefully on.
Yeah. I think for me, it's not the sleeping in because
There we go. Okay.
there we go. It's more the having to get ready. It's the 5:30, and it's. Well, I was going to say, although you haven't, get up and we do our hair and we put our makeup on and
Yeah,
have
it's
some
not a good day. Not today. Not for me anyway. Oh God.
Maybe it would have been better if I had have just gone to the gym on Friday mornings and then just come onto the show. Actually, no one wants to see me straight after training.
I don't recommend it, Sam. This is,
So
that's not all that.
yeah, I mean that is where we are right now. And Locuta says canceling is never nice, but asking if it's possible to reschedule is reasonable, especially if the calendar started going wrong. So it is,
Like,
in theory, it is, but some of those people that were scheduling with me were people that I don't want to miss out the opportunity to be able to speak with. So like, because I know they're very busy as well. So like, you just roll with it. Because the other thing was I had more of a liberal opening for Shark Tank guests to come on and do interviews than like most other things. But the problem is then people so many influxed all at once, and they all started booking up all these things, and I didn't have a chance to like block out, like, okay, I'm doing one this week. Let me block out the rest of that week. And my calendar doesn't have that option to do that, or even to book like only one per day or something to that effect. Like if you like, oh, we have all this open, but like if somebody books one, it's all gone. Like I'm not trying to book every 15 minute or every hour on the hour kind of thing.
I was going to ask if you how strong your buffers are, when everything's working, because I love buffering between appointments. I'm not one. I'm like you, Joe. I don't like to go back to back to back.
No, I can't.
I've done it, but I don't love doing it.
I don't love it at
Ideally,
all.
and there is buffers. Like you can set those buffers, but the problem is that then the buffer, you end up having to open up more time on the schedule in order to accommodate like that. It's just not good. It's not.
Yeah. Mastering the calendar is, can be a challenge.
It can be.
It is. But yeah, so
Well, we are almost on the hour.
I know.
So fast.
So I don't know. Yeah, right, Jen.
Can you miss it, hey, Jen?
I was only here 10 minutes. Wow.
So yeah, I don't know when we'll be looking to get back into it. My hope, me personally, and we haven't talked about this ahead of time, but my hope is that within like 4 to 6 months we could do something where it's like even if it's like once a month, since we're doing bi-weekly, but even just once a month to getting together to talk updates, business, and all that would be a lot, and answering questions would be awesome in my opinion.
Yeah, I think it'd be fun. I feel like we've made some friends here in the chat over the past few months with Locutus and Aram and all the crazy characters that join us from time to time. So I would love to not say goodbye, but see you later, like you said.
Absolutely. Just the end of this season.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. So for the final time this season, I will say if you want to have your own podcast, you should absolutely go check out our good friends over at yourpodcastconcierge.com. With Leon, and he will help you take whatever your podcast looks like, sounds like, make it sound better, make it sound tighter, and get it uploaded for you, and take care of all the things that you normally would have, all the steps you'd have to go through to make something that sounds super well produced and sounding great, and just take care of all of it for you. So go to yourpodcastconcierge.com and get in touch with Leon and his team to work with getting your message into a podcast and online.
They're the best and so nice. Nice. It's a pleasure. A pleasure to work with. I mean, it makes a difference,
It absolutely does. And so for the Business Geeks, for Jennifer Crawford, Samantha Riley, and myself, Joe Pardo, we will see you when we come back as the Business Geeks, when we reassemble, hopefully in 4 to 6 months, and looking forward to it.
Absolutely.
Thanks, geeks. I've had a pleasure in season 2. It's been great to hang out with you.
It's been an honor and a privilege.
It absolutely has, and maybe by next season we will have our the music working back, so we can
make promises you cannot fulfill.
Locutus says, "Thank you, ladies. Thank you, Joe. Enjoy your summer break. Live long and prosper." Anyway, take care, everybody. See you real soon.